I like this clap so much and I use it so much that it needs to go into the KC sauce folder for easier access. So I'm always finding new sounds that I like a lot, but then I'm always like super lazy as far as actually putting them in the folder. So Bro, that sounded like water. I thought I was tripping.
Supreme.
How to structure it? Yeah, it's really easy. If you're okay with it, I'll just use the example of what I have right now. So we have an intro. The intro is 4 bars because we are in considered double time, which means the snare is hitting on every third. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The snare is hitting on the third, whereas if we were in normal time, then everything would be hitting like this. Or I have it reversed. Sorry, we're in halftime because the BPM's higher, so it's hitting on the third. If we were in double time, that's when the snare would be hitting on the 2 and the 4. So boom ka, boom ka. You know what I'm saying? So we are in halftime essentially. So that means instead of this being 1 bar, this is actually half that. So 2 of these sections is 1 bar. Hopefully that makes sense. I know I butchered that explanation. So because we're in halftime, instead of, this is half the length. So this is half of a bar. That's 1 full bar. So we got 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. So we got a 4 bar intro. Then it drops into the hook, and the hook is 8 bars long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got an 8 bar hook. I split that up into 2 separate sections, hook A, which is 4 bars, and hook B, which is 4 bars. As you can see, something different happens in hook B. So, just a little bit of change. So there's an A and B part of the hook. So that's 8 bars. So we got 4 bar intro, 8 bar hook, and then we have the verse. So the verse will start here, and we'll have verse A. Oops. Verse A, verse B, and same thing with the hook. It's technically a 16 bar verse. Sorry, 12 bar verse, but this would be the 3rd part of the verse. But really, we just like to call that the pre-chorus. So if you think of it that way, it's 8 bar verse and 4 bar pre-chorus, which all together basically makes a 12 bar verse. So the first part of the verse, everything drops out from the hook. A hook has everything going, it's big, it has everything. So then to transition from that, we want to cut everything back. So then you'll hear from the hook to the first part of the verse, everything's stripped down. And I like to keep the 808 and the hi-hat going just to keep like the energy going, because I've come to find that if I were to take everything out like this, then it just loses all the energy that the track has already built up. So you just want to take out some elements. And then the second part of the verse has all the drums back in. The difference between having all the drums back in on the hook and having all the drums back in on the second half of the verse is in the melody. So, in this loop, the hook section of the loop has more going on, whereas the verse section has less. So even though all the drums are back, it still doesn't feel as big as the hook just because of the melodic elements. So compare that to the hook. So you can see the hook still feels the biggest, and that's what you want. And then for the pre-chorus, that's the only time we're going to stop the energy. And the reason we do that is because we want the hook to feel massive. We want the hook to feel big. So let me show you what happens when we take out the pre-chorus and we just go straight back into hook from the second half of the verse. It just doesn't feel that different. So a trick to fight that is to add a pre-chorus as the last part of the verse. So, you know, you hear it in a lot of songs where like they're rapping on the verse and then the pre-chorus comes in, and that's kind of the break in between the verse and the hook where we strip everything back. We want it to lose energy temporarily, just so that when the hook drops again, it feels that much bigger, just from the contrast of having nothing going on to everything going on. So that's kind of the reasoning behind having a pre-chorus. So that just makes the hook have the illusion of feeling even bigger than it is. And that's it. You just loop that now. Chorus is a hook, yes. So I like to call it a hook, but technically it's a chorus. The reason they call it a hook is because that's the part of the song that is the catchiest and hooks you into wanting to listen to it more. So that's why it's called the hook, because it's supposed to be like lyrically and musically, it's like the biggest, most catchiest part of the whole song. So chorus, you know, it's probably confusing. I call it a pre-chorus instead of a pre-hook, but you can call it whatever you want. I mean, this could be, essentially this is a pre-hook. Or if you want to stick with chorus, then, you know, chorus, then we'll change this to say chorus. It's the same thing. It's interchangeable terms. Which actually, it's actually not, because technically the hook can be a part in the verse, because it literally just means the part that hooks you into the song and becomes an earworm and makes you want to listen to it again. That's all it really means. So yeah, it's crazy that you cannot copy and paste labels, marker labels, but you know, same thing. It just start again in chorus A, chorus B, verse A, verse B. And you know, if you wanted, you can even change something. Yes, hook equals chorus. You could even add something different in this verse than you did in this verse, but honestly, I've come to find that 90% of the time, all those type of things are going to be things that the artist wants to change after they've recorded. And so, you know, the engineer is going to make changes like that. So when you're just making beats, you know, to play for artists, it's okay to have them loop over the same parts. You know, you don't have to worry about adding too much variation in the arrangement, because like I said, most of those decisions would be made post-production, basically after the artist has recorded and they're finalizing the song or the album. They'll probably go back and mess with the stems and change up the arrangement, or add, a lot of the times after artists record, they want to add their own dropouts, meaning they want the beat instead to sound like this. You know, the artist wants it to drop there, so that's something the engineer would do in Pro Tools. They would make this happen, basically. You know, shit like that you can add to spice your beats up, but you don't really need to go too crazy in doing that, like I said, just because they would do that in post-production or while they're recording or whatever. That's kind of part of the engineer's job, to finalize the artist's idea of what the song should be. And then outro is basically just verse A, melodic elements, so I just copied over verse A, and I took out all the other elements, so it's just the melodies. Oh, you should absolutely make drops and cut yourself. Just don't go crazy, because, you know, just think of it, if you're an artist, what do artists do when they go on, like, I don't know, they go on like YouTube, they find a beat, they listen to it over and over and over, you know what I mean? So really having this loop 3 times is not really a bad thing, as far as the artist writing to it. But you can add drops. Like, I usually like to add drops in the first part of the verse. I like to do little stuff like this. So I'll add a few, but I'm just saying you don't need to go crazy or really worry about it too much. So just getting kind of the basic structure is all you really need to accomplish, and the rest is just kind of like seasoning on an already cooked meal. You just sprinkle some salt here and there, sprinkle some drops here and there if you feel like it. It's all, you know, there's really no rules. I know certain big producers, I won't say their name, and they're not in internet money or anything like that, just certain big time producers that when they make beats, let me say this real quick before I do what I'm about to do. I'm not going to name names, so don't ask, but I know big producers that literally make the beat, leave it like this, don't even arrange it. They make the beat in the studio, they bounce it out just like this, they send the stems to the engineer, and then the engineer has to arrange it. They don't even bother. They don't even bother. And they are a huge producer who has so many records. They don't even, bro, they just make the beat. They don't even mix it. They don't mix it, bro. They don't mix it. They literally just, see, I haven't mixed it. They literally just make the beat. That should be loud as fuck, clipping. They don't give a fuck. It's not mixed. Then they just export it out, and then they send the stems. So really, there's no overthinking it, you know. Work smart, not hard. Yeah, but the thing is, the engineers are like pissed at him that they have to do his job, you know. Engineers be feeling that type of way, like, damn, man, because engineers don't get producer credit for arranging that shit, so they got to do extra work for no benefit. Let me mix this real quick.